Has your cat ever frozen mid-pounce, staring intently into an empty corner? Or maybe they suddenly bolt across the room as if chased by an invisible force. Most cat owners have witnessed this mysterious behaviour, and the first thought that often comes to mind, usually accompanied by a chuckle, is, they must be seeing ghosts. But what if I told you the explanation for this phenomenon is far more real and far more astonishing? Today, we're going to break down what's actually happening. It's not the paranormal, it's your pet's incredible super hearing. We'll dive into the world of sounds accessible only to cats, and you'll finally understand why they act so mysteriously. Get ready, because some of these facts are truly mind-blowing. You'll never look at your cat the same way again. To truly understand the origins of this superpower, we need to look far back into history. The ancestors of our domestic purr machines were crepuscular and nocturnal predators. Their survival depended entirely on their ability to locate and catch small, fast prey, often in near total darkness. While sight certainly played a role, their primary hunting tool was hearing. Evolution spent millennia refining this mechanism, transforming a cat's ears into perfect biological locators. For comparison, the upper limit of hearing for the average human is around 20,000 Hz. Dogs manage about 45,000, and cats? That number reaches 65,000 Hz, and some research suggests it can go as high as 100,000. This grants them access to an entirely different sound dimension, one filled with information we can't even begin to detect. Let's start by looking at the anatomy of this marvel. Take a look at your cat's ears. They aren't just cute triangles, they are incredibly sophisticated engineering devices. That's 32 muscles in each ear. Humans, for comparison, only have 6. This large number of muscles allows cats to swivel their ear flaps a full 180 degrees, and they can do this completely independently of one another. One ear can be aimed forward while the other points straight back. This allows them to pinpoint the source of a sound with incredible accuracy without even having to turn their head. In fact, the outer ear, or pinna technically, works like a miniature satellite dish, collecting, amplifying and funneling sound waves straight into the inner ear. This mobility and unique shape are the first keys to unlocking the mystery of their phenomenal hearing. Just imagine having 2 hypersensitive antennas that are constantly scanning the environment around you. Now let's talk about the numbers that truly impress. As we've already mentioned, cats can hear frequencies up to 65,000 Hz, and sometimes even higher. What does this mean in practice? It means they detect sounds 1.5 octaves higher than dogs and a staggering 2.5 octaves higher than we can. This high-frequency world is known as ultrasound. To us, this is complete and absolute silence. But for a cat, it's a world absolutely bursting with information. They hear things that are both invisible and inaudible to us. Picture a sound palette. Our human palette is just the basic set of primary colours. A dog's palette is slightly expanded, but the cat's is a palette with thousands of extra shades and nuances, the existence of which we barely even suspect. It is precisely within this ultrasonic range that most of the secrets behind their strange behaviour are hidden. So, ultrasound. What is this secret world that only cats can perceive? Above all, it is the language of their primary prey. Small rodents like mice and voles communicate by emitting high-frequency squeaks, ranging from 20 to 100,000 Hz. Humans cannot hear these sounds at all, but a cat hears this high-frequency chatter just as clearly as we hear people talking in the next room. A cat can pinpoint a mouse squeak up to 20 meters away, even if the rodent is hidden behind a wall or underneath the floorboards. So, when your cat suddenly freezes, staring intently at the wall, they are most likely not meditating. They are tuned into mouse radio, tracking the movements of a potential dinner. This remarkable ability gave their ancestors a tremendous advantage in hunting, and it remains one of the cat's most crucial instincts today. But rodents aren't the only creatures filling the cat's auditory world. Think about insects. Just consider how often you see a cat hunting a simple housefly. To us, a fly's buzzing is just a dull, annoying sound. But for a cat, it's an entire symphony. It doesn't just hear the buzz itself. It registers the slightest shifts in frequency, which precisely map the insect's flight path. What's more, cats can pick up the sounds made by creatures that we consider practically silent. For instance, the friction of a cockroach's tiny legs on a surface, the soft rustle of a moth's wings, or even the subtle movement of a spider. This sensory ability transforms the cat into a highly efficient insect terminator. A cat might appear completely relaxed, but its radar-like ears are always active, ready to pick up the faintest high-frequency rustle, a signal announcing the arrival of a tiny, unwitting target. Now let's step away from the natural world and take a look inside our own homes. Think it's quiet in here? Far from it. For a cat, our homes and apartments are actually factories churning out what we might call electronic ghosts. Nearly all modern technology produces high-frequency noise that is completely imperceptible to us. Your phone charger, the laptop power brick, the TV on standby, even energy-saving and LED bulbs, they all emit a low-level hum in the ultrasonic range. To a cat, however, this translates into a constant, intrusive background noise. Imagine having a lawnmower running permanently right outside your window. That's what it's like. This is precisely why cats sometimes avoid certain spots in the house or appear anxious for no visible reason. They are simply trying to find a quiet retreat, far away from these sounds, which are unheard by us, but incredibly irritating to them. Step outside just as dusk settles. You'll see bats fluttering across the darkening sky. We can observe them, yet we can't hear how they navigate. But cats, however, can. Bats use echolocation, emitting rapid ultrasonic clicks and analysing the returning echoes. These signals range from 20 to 200,000 Hz. Cats, whose upper hearing threshold is far greater than ours, are able to pick up a significant portion of these high-frequency calls. It's truly an amazing evolutionary adaptation. At night, when visibility is low, this means a cat can track prey not just on the ground, but also high up in the air. This perfectly explains why cats sometimes suddenly raise their heads and stare intently into the dark sky, as if fixing on something completely invisible to us. They are listening to the bats' conversations, the navigational chatter that to our human ears is nothing more than the absolute silence of the night. Let's head back inside and tackle another mystery. Your cat is sitting there, staring intently at the bathroom wall or floor. Nothing is happening. It's completely silent to you. But is it really? Inside those walls are water pipes. We only hear the water when we turn on the faucet. A cat, however, is capable of picking up the sound of water moving through the pipes, even when the flow is incredibly slight. They can hear tiny drops of condensation rolling down the pipe, or the subtle hum created by pressure within the system. What's more, if there's a microscopic leak somewhere, one that's impossible for us to spot, the cat can pick up the high-frequency whistle or hiss of water escaping through a minuscule pinhole. So in a way, your pet acts as a living plumbing detector, alerting you to potential issues long before they ever become obvious problems. Sticking with the topic of strange noises coming from your walls, we need to talk about another type of uninvited guest your pet might discover. Common pests, specifically termites or wood-boring beetles. As these insects chew pathways through wooden structures, they emit a distinctive, high-frequency sound, a faint crunching or scratching. To us, these sounds are usually only noticeable once the infestation has reached a significant, damaging scale. However, your cat's highly sensitive hearing allows them to pick up these faint vibrations at the very earliest stages. If you observe your cat consistently showing intense interest in a specific wooden section of a wall, baseboard, or even a piece of furniture, it might be time to trust their instincts. That persistent focus might not just be curiosity, it could be an early warning sign of a hidden structural issue. There's also a theory explaining why cats sometimes get agitated or restless right before a thunderstorm or hurricane, even when the sky is completely clear. It's believed they can pick up not just standard sound waves, but also infrasound, those extremely low frequencies, below 20 Hz, which are totally silent to us. Furthermore, Their hearing might be sensitive to minute shifts in atmospheric pressure that precede major weather changes. These shifts create subtle vibrations and sounds that essentially act as a sophisticated barometer for the cat, signaling that a storm is approaching. So, the next time your pet starts searching for cover or compulsively grooming itself for no obvious reason, take a look at the weather forecast. Chances are your cat knows something you don't yet. It's just another fascinating piece of evidence showing how much richer and more complex their perception of the world is compared to ours. It's crucial to understand that a cat's remarkable sense of hearing goes far beyond frequency range. It's defined by incredible precision. They can distinguish sounds with astonishing detail. Research demonstrates that a cat can pinpoint a sound source up to 10 meters away with an accuracy of just a few centimeters. They achieve this through the immediate analysis of the minuscule time difference, as the sound reaches the left versus the right ear. Coupled with slight variations in intensity, the cat's brain instantly processes this data, constructing a precise three-dimensional map of the soundscape. This is exactly why a cat can pinpoint a rustling piece of paper with its eyes closed. It doesn't just hear the sound, it essentially sees it in space. This spatial awareness and localization ability cements its status as one of the planet's most efficient predators. This amazing ability to hear ultrasound is hardwired into cats right from birth. Although kittens are born blind and virtually deaf, with their ear canals closed, their hearing starts developing rapidly within just a few weeks. One of the very first sounds they learn to recognize is the ultrasonic call of their mother. The queen uses high-frequency chirps and specialized purrs to communicate with her young. These sounds are too high-pitched for most other animals to hear, meaning they won't attract predators. It's essentially a secret language, understood only between mother and kitten. A cat's preference for high frequencies is truly ingrained. From early childhood, they associate these sounds with safety, nourishment, and their mother's care. This early association explains why many cats respond better to women's and children's voices, which naturally fall into that higher tonal range. Now let's tie all of this back to their behavior. A cat's hunting instinct operates like a finely tuned program, and the trigger is always sound. The slightest rustle, squeak, or scratch instantly activates the predator within. Upon hearing the potential sound of prey, the cat freezes, swivels its radar-like ears to pinpoint the source, and then begins a slow, silent stalk. Every muscle in its body is coiled and tense, ready for a lightning-fast pounce. This perfectly explains why cats are so drawn to toys that make crinkling or jingling noises. The crinkling sound mimics a mouse scurrying through dry leaves, while the chime of a tiny bell resembles a high-pitched squeak. By using these types of toys, we allow our cats to fulfill those deep-seated instincts in a safe and engaging way. Unfortunately, this incredible sensitivity comes at a huge cost. While we might see a vacuum cleaner as just a noisy household appliance, to a cat, it's a genuine monster from the abyss. And the problem isn't just the sheer volume. The motor, the airflow, and the spinning brushes create a devastating storm of ultrasonic sound waves. Imagine hearing the simultaneous roar of a jet engine, the shriek of a buzzsaw, and a deafening air raid siren. That's roughly the sensory experience your cat is having. The same is true for other loud appliances like blenders, hairdryers, or power drills. For a cat, these noises aren't just annoying, they cause genuine physical pain and intense stress. So next time your pet panics and disappears under the bed during cleanup, remember it's not a tantrum. It's a completely natural reaction of self-preservation. Have you ever tried sneaking up on a cat? Chances are you failed. Even if they look like they're dozing, their ears are always on high alert. They don't just hear your footsteps. They pick up the subtle sounds that accompany your movement, the rustle of your clothes, the faint creak of the floorboards beneath your weight, and even the slight change in your breathing when you try to move quietly. Their hearing is so precise they can tell where you're headed before you even take the first step. They hear you pick up the keys from the table and immediately understand you're about to leave. They can hear the sound of the refrigerator opening or the distinct crinkle of the food bag, even if they are in another room. As far as a cat is concerned, we cannot move silently. We are just big, noisy creatures, and they track our every single movement with those built-in radar ears. But what about our voice? Do cats actually understand what we're saying to them? Of course, they don't grasp the meaning of words the way humans do. However, they are incredibly skilled at picking up on intonation, pitch, and the emotional colour of our voice. Their hearing is especially attuned to sound pitch. They respond best to high-pitched, soft and melodic sounds. This is exactly why we instinctively use that high-pitched, almost baby voice when talking to our cats and kittens. For them, this tone sounds reassuring and friendly, reminding them of the high-frequency sounds they use to communicate with their mother. Conversely, low, loud and sharp noises, like shouting or yelling, are immediately perceived as a threat or aggression. So if you want to build a strong bond with your pet, speak to them calmly and gently. They will definitely appreciate it on their own sonic level. Unfortunately, just like humans, cats can experience hearing loss as they age. This process is medically known as presbycusis. It usually starts after the age of 10 and develops gradually, meaning the signs may not always be immediately obvious. Your cat might start meowing much louder than before because they can no longer hear their own voice clearly. They might stop reacting to your approach until you are right in their line of sight, which can cause them to be startled more often. You might also notice that they are sleeping more deeply, not waking up to sounds they previously reacted to. If you observe these kinds of changes in your senior pet, it is crucial to show extra patience and care. Always approach them so they can see you coming and use gestures or vibrations to get their attention. For example, you can stomp gently on the floor and be sure to consult your veterinarian to rule out any other underlying health problems. Given their incredible hearing sensitivity, it's our job, as responsible pet owners, to actively protect their ears. It's crucial that we create a comfortable acoustic environment for them. Try not to blast music or the television, especially if your cat is in the room. Avoid shouting or making sudden jarring noises. Position your cat's bed or designated resting spot, like a cozy den or house, away from constantly running and noisy appliances, such as the refrigerator or washing machine. Also, remember those electronic ghosts. If your cat consistently avoids a spot near an outlet packed with multiple charging devices, it might be worth moving their resting area. Simple acts of caring for their auditory comfort will make your pet's life much calmer and happier, reduce their stress levels, and ultimately strengthen the bond you share. There is a widespread belief that cats hate music. In reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. What they dislike is our human music. Its rhythms, heavy bass, and specific frequencies sound alien to them and are often downright irritating. But what happens if you create music designed specifically for felines? Scientists and composers decided to find out and ran some interesting experiments. They composed tracks using frequencies within the typical feline vocal range, incorporating sounds that cats naturally find soothing, such as purring, suckling sounds, or the chirping of birds. The tempo of this music often matches the exact rate of a cat's purr, and the results were astonishing. When listening to these compositions, cats showed clear signs of enjoyment. They rubbed against the speakers, they purred, and they became noticeably calmer. So, cats don't hate music, they just need their own personalised soundtrack. And finally, a cat's sense of hearing is far more than just a hunting tool. It's a critical social function. They use their hearing to interpret the world around them, including us. They pick up not only the tone of our voice, but also the subtle physiological changes happening within our bodies. For instance, a racing heartbeat or uneven breathing when we are nervous or afraid. They can even detect muscle tension just from the faint sound our clothing makes when we shift position. All of this provides them with an immense amount of information regarding our emotional state. They literally hear our feelings. This is one of the reasons cats often come to comfort us when we are sad, or conversely, avoid us when we are angry. They are reading our sonic aura. Their world is a complex symphony where every single note matters, and we, in that symphony, are one of the main movements. So, what's the takeaway here? Your cat's world isn't the quiet, peaceful place we imagine it to be. It's actually a roaring ocean of sound. a sensory environment we are completely unaware of. Think about everything they hear, from the high-pitched, ultrasonic squeak of a mouse behind the wall to the persistent hum of our charging devices, from the faint chatter of bats flying in the night sky to the simple rush of water through the pipes. Their ears are essentially real-life superhero gadgets, allowing them to perceive an entire universe hidden from our own senses. So, the next time your furry friend freezes up and stares intently at an empty spot, know this: they aren't seeing ghosts. They are listening. They are analysing. They are living in a world that is far richer and more complex than ours. And I hope that realising this will give you an even deeper sense of respect and admiration for your little predator. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way through. If you learned something new about your pet today, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos about the mysterious world of animals. Now for a question for you. What are the strangest or funniest sound reactions you've noticed from your own cat? Tell me your story in the comments below. Let's start a discussion.